go along with him because of some family issues. I have seen my mother, how she looked after all the family members, my grandmother, me, my sister, and so many people. And from then only I realized that, I mean, inherently women are multitaskers. They do not miss many, rather they do not miss any. On the contrary, being a male, I know that I am nowhere near a multitasker. Only one thing keeps in my head. I mean, only if I shut down that, then I can switch on another thought. So, in that way, women are empowered. And as other people say that to leave aside those giving birth and all these things, kudos to all the women. Thank you so much for being here, and I feel privileged to be on this dais today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Please take your seats in the audience now. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now move to a panel discussion with our esteemed guests. So because I saw that you've taken this chair, I definitely wanted to start with you, but I think we've been hearing from all the doctors, so just for the change of pace, I would want to start with Smita. Smita, you've spent decades in media. Over the years, how have you seen the representation of women evolve?
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you, Manipal Hospitals, for inviting me on this prestigious panel on the special occasion of International Women's Day. To answer your question, I always believe and I always say that media is a mirror of society. It only mirrors what is happening in society. So the evolution of the representation of women in media it's only mirroring the way women are evolving in society. Now, if you see, I run a newspaper which is handles fashion and lifestyle and entertainment. So I'll talk only about my area of expertise. That even I was just talking to Jessica off stage that the way women have come up, if we see post-COVID, they're everywhere, they're coming forth. Just now Jessica was telling me, I don't ever remember, doctors coming forth so much. They were very private women. But the way we have seen a boom in women-led entrepreneurship in Calcutta. I mean, from the if you look at the F&B industry, it's almost, it was a completely male-dominated area even 10 years back. But over the last 5-6 years, young women have completely dominated the scene. There are cafes, restaurants, nightclubs being run by women and so successfully. Similarly, in every other field you see, women are ruling. So I think we as a lifestyle tabloid, we are just mirroring that evolution in our newspaper.
Right. Now coming to you, ma'am. First of all, you were a doctor and an army officer. First of all, I would want to know how are you handling such demanding responsibilities? And also, what inspired you to dedicate your work to hearing restoration and rehabilitation?
This is a very apt question, actually. It's difficult to manage all the things, but not impossible. I think a good, strong determination, perseverance, and excellent time management is the key. That is the only key. And how did I decide to come to this field? The answer lies in that I was mostly interested in pediatric ENT. So most of the time I was involved with such cases with my guide or mentor. And there happened one incident during my childhood days. One of our schoolmates, he was a very actually bright child. But what happened, he had some mumps, followed by which he lost his hearing. After that, I just saw my friend cutting off from the society. He almost vanished. So this actually was somewhere killing me inside in my heart, and then I decided to go to this field. That is it.
So as we know, with things like hearing or plastic and reconstructive surgery, there's not only physical health but a lot of shame, feeling, a lot of confidence and lack of confidence is related. So I would like to come to you now, Dr. Anjana Malhotra, as a plastic and reconstructive surgeon. You often help patients not only reclaim their physical function but also confidence. How do you feel about it?
So actually, contrary to popular opinion, aesthetic or cosmetic surgery as it's called is just one part of the work we do. So it's mainly reconstructive surgery, following cancer, following orthopedic trauma, following burns. And I'd like to talk about burns in this instance because as the burn has sustained the biggest trauma known to humankind. To come out of that, it requires not just surgery, treatment, all your antibiotics, your critical care treatment, but there's a huge psychological factor which plays a part. And most of these patients, I'm not just talking about women, because of the disfigurement, they're not accepted back in society. And for women, this part includes acid attacks, which were very common about 15 to 20 years back. But thanks to a lot of legislation, when the sale of this acid has stopped, these attacks have become very far and few. So psychologically, it brings a big problem to the patient, and to get that patient back into mainstream takes a lot of work, not only by the doctor but by the family as well as the psychologists, psychosocial workers who are involved in it.
Thank you. Now coming to you, Mrs. Jessica Gomes Surana. Schools today are shaping the leaders of tomorrow. And what qualities do you think we should imbibe in young women?
A very good afternoon to everyone out here, and thank you Manipal Hospital for having me as a prerna here this morning. And prerna means motivation, and motivation is the driver. And we in an educational institution, we are the drivers. When I say we, it is not me alone, because I cannot run the show. I need a team. So we at our school, at all schools, ensure that when it comes to young minds, we play a very crucial role in society. We are one of the builders of society. And when it comes to young minds, curiosity is something that we need to breathe within these young minds. A curious mind is a mind that will be demanded in years to come. Self-expression, that is something that is so important. Every child is unique. Every child is individual. Therefore, every child needs to get that chance of self-expressing. Resilience is something that every child needs to grow within themselves. So when I look at a whole array of a lot of different qualities, I would lay emphasis on these three: curiosity, self-expression, and resilience. Because these are going to strengthen those little blocks, those tender minds, those tender hearts. If they're able to get these into their system, everything else will fall in place. Thank you.
Very well said. Now coming to you, ma'am. When it comes to public health, because we've been hearing all the doctors, whoever came on stage, and they only, they literally stressed out the fact that women, when it comes to their own health, they tend to dilly-dally a lot. Now, when it comes to public health, have you noticed a wee bit of change? Is it better than how it was probably a decade ago?
In terms of women's health, firstly, good afternoon again to all of you. I do see that that there was more awareness. So especially after COVID, I think health-wise COVID was a milestone. So there was a lot of talk about immunity, maintaining good health, preventive health after COVID because people would see small symptoms like upper respiratory tract infection could lead to something very serious. So that time, I think they understood the importance of prevention. And so many laws and rules were kept in place, masking was there. So they understood prevention more, I think, from COVID. However, as we heard so many doctors talking, awareness may have been there, but do they prioritize? Has that awareness turned into practice? That is a gap that I think we still have.
Very true. Now, coming to you again, so lifestyle and culture have been two of the main perspectives that we see through when we are, probably talking about somebody, whether they are successful or not. We compare a lot. So, what role can mainstream media play in changing this narrative?
By comparing, if you mean like setting them against ideal standards, of course, then I would say yes, media does play a role, but I think this is particularly relevant in terms of cinema. Because our cinema has kind of over decades created very unrealistic images of women who are kind of, because cinema is the biggest cultural platform that connects all parts of the country. So they have set very unrealistic standards about women. Now, if you're talking about looks, it's that fair skin and sharp features and slim figure. So it's visually they have set kind of a prototype of what women must look like and what women
Typical gender heroine.